Epic Games just released their 2025 year in review, and if you've only read the headlines, you'd think they were winning. Total player spend hit an all-time record of $1.16 billion. Third-party revenue, the money spent on games not made by Epic, is up 57%, but tucked away in the fine print and reinforced by the brand new January 2026 data for Steam is a much darker reality. For the first time since the store launched, Epic's leadership is effectively admitting that their foundational strategy has failed. General Manager Steve Allison didn't just announce a routine update this week. He announced a ground-up architectural rebuild of the store, because after 7 years and billions of dollars in investment, he finally admitted what we've all been saying. The current launcher in its current state just sucks. So it seems like they aren't just planning a UI refresh, as they are finally adding profile pictures and voice calls to the Epic store. For years, Epic's plan was simple: just buy the users with free games and force the developers with exclusives. But the 2025 data shows the limit of that strategy. Despite giving away 100 free games last year, worth over $2,300 in value per player, Epic's daily active users didn't grow. They actually fell by 2%, dropping to an average of 31 million. Now just think about that in a year where the PC gaming market grew, and where Steam is breaking every record they've ever had. Today we are dissecting the $1.16 billion illusion, the rise of the friend slop phenomenon that is currently carrying Steam to new heights, and why Epic is remaking their entire launcher just to survive 2026. Let's start by looking at the numbers Epic wants us to see, and then let's look at the reality they're hiding. In 2025, third-party spending on the Epic Games Store hit $400 million. Now, a 57 year-over-year jump is objectively impressive, but the reason it's a 57% increase is due to every previous year just being so bad for the platform, as they haven't even doubled the spending since the launch of Epic. To put that number into perspective, Alinea Analytics confirmed that Steam generated $1.6 billion in the month of December alone. Steam is making 4 times more in 30 days than Epic's third-party partners made in 365. So the growth Epic is seeing isn't really a sign that they are winning. It's a sign that they are finally barely starting to function as a store. But even that growth is a mirage. If you look at the top games list provided by Epic, the heavy hitters are still Fortnite, Genshin Impact, and Rocket League. They aren't new customers buying new games, they are existing communities locked into specific ecosystems. The most alarming stat in the 2025 Epic review isn't the money at all, it's the collectors versus customers problem. Epic gave away 662 million free games in 2025, which is a massive number, but recent data suggests that only about 16 to 18% of those people ever actually buy a game on the store afterwards. People log in, click claim, and then log back out. This stagnation is exactly why Epic is ditching their current architecture. While Epic is busy diagnosing why they are losing users, Steam is currently in the middle of an explosion, especially with new hardware coming really soon. On January 4th, 2026, Steam hit a record 41.8 million concurrent users, but just 1 week later, it smashed that again, crossing 42 million. And the driver behind this isn't some massive 200 million AAA sequel from Ubisoft or EA. It's actually Arc Raiders. According to Alinea Analytics, Arc Raiders crossed 15 million copies sold, with 1.5 million happening on Steam just in January. Even its player counts on Steam has been extremely impressive, sitting at around 300,000 players consistently. Not only is Arc Raiders a great game, but players pay the $40 because that's where their friends are. It's where their achievements are displayed, and it's also where the friend slop ecosystem thrives. Even if Epic offered Arc Raiders for free tomorrow, the data suggests most players would stay on Steam. Steam is essentially a black hole of social engagement. Once you're in, the cost of leaving, losing your community, your clips, and your entire gaming history is higher than the cost of the game itself. The Alinea Analytics report dropped dropped a term that you may have heard or seen before around Steam, which is friend slop. It sounds like something bad, but in the current market, it's actually a superpower. Friend slop refers to these mid-tier, often chaotic, cooperative indie games. Titles like Misery, Repo, Are We There Yet, and many, many more. These games prioritize funny moments and social interactions over 4K textures and 100-hour cinematic campaigns. The data shows that 20% of Steam's gross revenue in 2025 came from Swedish developers alone. Sweden has mastered the art of the social sandbox. These games are designed to be played with friends, and they are generating billions of dollars. Alinea suggests this Sweden effect is because these devs aren't chasing the American blockbuster model. They're building social sandboxes that prioritize chaos over cinematics. In fact, Alinea reports that the co-op genre on Steam generated over $8.2 billion last year, a 9% gain year over year. So this is exactly where Epic's strategy fell apart. For years, Epic chased prestige exclusives. They wanted the big, shiny, single-player AAA games that just look good in a trailer. But the 2026 market has shifted into an era of social chaos. When a game like Misery goes viral, you don't just want to play it, you want to see which of your friends are online, invite them with one click, and share the clip to the Steam Community Hub. Steam's infrastructure makes friend slop a global phenomenon, which is why we keep seeing more and more of these types of games appear, and that's simply because they are successful. Epic's current infrastructure makes it a chore to play these games, but by admitting their store sucks and needs a complete rebuild, Epic is finally acknowledging that they missed one of the biggest trends of the decade. It seems like Epic has finally realized that giving out free games won't grow the platform. They need actual community features that players will want to use. But where does this leave us? Epic isn't exactly waving the white flag just yet, but the 2025 stats were clearly the wake-up call that they couldn't ignore. The planned summer 2026 rebuild is Epic's final gamble. They are promising a launcher that is finally snappy, social forums that actually work, and a massive mobile store expansion to unify the experience. They are finally building the store that should have launched back in 2019. But this doesn't just seem to be a simple UI reskin. Epic is rebuilding the store's architecture designed to load fast. They're trying to fight Valve's optimization and make Epic a more enjoyable store to use, which is overall a good thing. The better competition Steam has, the better it is for gamers as services improve across different platforms. But the real question comes down to, is it too late for Epic? When you look at the Alinea stats, the 42 million concurrent on Steam, the absolute dominance of friend slop, it feels like the culture has already been set in stone. Steam is the default place for PC gamers, but seeing as Epic has promised significant changes this year, we're going to see if a better UI and some new social features can actually compete with the momentum Valve has built over 20 years. But if the January data is any sign, Steam is playing a completely different game. To stay updated on all things Valve as we go through 2026, make sure to subscribe.